umbrella opens like it disagrees with me.
Yeah. One ribbon out near the edge, black cloth catching on a tired screw. I stand under the overpass where the rain comes sideways anyway. A bus goes past with its windows full of people looking through themselves, and the puddles shake for a second then keep every shape they had. I press the button twice, the spring jump stops, changes its mind. Half a circle above my head, half a question in my hand. Nothing dramatic happens, the sky does not make a speech. The metal simply holds back where I expected it to turn. So I walk with one side higher, one shoulder getting wet. Not enough to ruin the day, just enough to make it honest. Yeah. There's a pharmacy sign blinking red and failing on the last letter. A bicycle chain ticking near the curb like a thought that won't sit down. I could throw the umbrella out, buy another one with cleaner manners, but the handle still fits my palm and the bad hinge knows the route. A receipt sticks to the pavement, face down, unreadable. I step around it once, then step through the water anyway. I used to hate anything that would not open when asked. Now I know some things move only after being carried wrong. If the hinge refuses, let it keep one small argument with the rain. I can walk beneath the crooked part and still arrive with both my hands. I don't need the sky to clear or the metal to explain. I just need enough cover for the part of me that stands. If the hinge refuses, let it teach the shape another way to bend. Let the broken circle lean, but now decide the whole street for me. I can take the wet side with me, I can leave the neat one unsent, and still move through the weather without asking to be free. At the edge of the store roof, water drops in a row, one then two together, then nothing for too long. I watch it like a schedule, never agreed to keep. Buy a warm can from the machine, hold it against my sleeve. There's steam under the tap, there's rust near the drain. There's a man across the street turning his collar up late. Everybody has a method, small, ugly, almost enough. Plastic bag over paper, sewn inside a glove. I laugh once through my nose, not happy, not bitter, just catching the angle before it catches me. The umbrella snaps inward when the wind comes down the lane. I twist it back slowly like I'm negotiating with a minor version of myself. The can goes cold before I finish it. I keep holding it for the shape. There's a narrow awning above a closed shop. It ends 3 steps before the crossing. I stand where it stops and count the lights changing. Cars passing clean through water like they know how to leave. Maybe I don't need a full shelter, maybe that was the trick making me heavy. Waiting for a roof with perfect edges while the street kept offering pieces. The hinge won't give, the wind won't soften. The crossing light turns green with no concern for timing. So I go with the umbrella tilted badly, and the rain choosing one side of me like it paid for the seat. If the hinge refuses, I won't force the little joint to bless me. I'll carry what still opens, even badly, through the rain. There is room inside a broken arc for something almost steady. There is weather I can enter without giving it my name. If the hinge refuses, I can let the closed part stay behind. Take the bent part forward, take the wet sleeve as it is. Not a sign, not a rescue, not a better state of mind. Just a turn that didn't work and somehow still permits. Inside the doorway, strap won't catch. I wrap it once, miss the button, then leave it loose. Hear the mellow ones. I get one bar for the way back. Not for calling, not for proving I was fine. Just a thin green line under concrete, staying alive at the edge of the screen. The parking level hums in flat numbers, B2, B3, same low ceiling, different stains. I walk past cars with sleeping windows, each one holding a version of leaving. My hand knows the phone before I do. Checks it, locks it, checks it again. No message worth becoming a person for. No emergency bright enough to name. Yeah, there's a ticket folder behind the case from a machine that didn't trust my timing. I keep it there like a small receipt for all the exits I almost used. A red pipe crosses above my head, too straight to look accidental. Someone painted arrows on the floor, but none of them sound like advice. I pass the elevator, let it open for nobody. Let the mirror door return me with less face than I brought. I am not lost, I am stored wrong. There's a difference thin as a barcode line. I don't spend the last light on explaining. I don't send my shape into the crowd. Some days staying reachable is not the same as reaching out. So I keep a little voltage under my tongue, keep a little weather out of my coat, keep the sentence half charged until the street decides to load. There's signal reserve in the part of me that won't answer fast. Not because I'm gone, just because I learned what drains too much. I can leave the screen face down and still come back intact, with one small line of green, refusing to give up. Yeah. There's signal reserve in the space between the call and the hand, in the second where the elevator waits and does not close. I don't need to turn my whole chest into a broadcast. I can hold one bar aside for the road. Down one ramp, then a left I didn't need. Oil mark shaped like a country shoe scrape near the pillar. I read all the signs like they owe me a smaller day. Exit pay here, watch a step, none of them know my name. There's a cart with one bad wheel turning by itself in place. I almost laughed and saved that too. Not everything has to be used, not every light has to arrive. Sometimes the useful thing's the part you didn't spend. I keep my reply unsent, not sharp, not kind, just folded like the ticket behind the case. Then the air changes near the slope, not fresh, just wider. The ceiling lifts by an inch and my shoulders notice before I do. A car passes above, face through metal. Some stranger moving faster than my reasons can't catch. I don't follow, I don't freeze, I let the sound go first, then walk inside the gap it leaves. There's signal reserve in the part of me that won't turn blue for anyone. Not tonight, not fully, not in a room that asks too hard. I can save a little charge where the old panic used to run, and still make it out past the painted guard. Yeah. There's signal reserve in the pause before I choose my voice, in the way I let the message wait without becoming stone. I don't need to disappear to keep myself from noise. I can stay partly here and partly my own. At the payment machine, the buttons are warmer than they look. I put the ticket in, it thinks about me for 3 seconds. Nothing approves, nothing rejects, nothing moves. I can make a story out of that, but I let the machine keep it. Then the gate lifts with no opinion. Outside the air is corners, streetlights leaning into puddles. My phone finds better service and I don't become louder. That's the part I almost miss, the freedom of not using what returns. Green bars rising on the screen while I put it back away. I'll pass a closed shop with mannequins turned half aside, as if even plastic bodies get tired of being seen. The road is there, not clean, not kind, but open in sections, like a sentence with missing teeth. There's signal reserve in the part of me I didn't hand over. A small kept current under all this concrete gray. I can move with less announcement, carry less exposure, and let the unused answer stay unused today. There's signal reserve, not a promise, not a rescue flare. Just enough to cross the level, just enough to keep one bar for the way back. One breath I don't share, one message left unread while the city lets me leave. At the crosswalk, I turn the phone over. The light changes, I go anyway. Took my name off the corner of a form I never meant to send. Left the box unchecked, let the ink dry badly again. No one came looking, the shelf did not collapse. Just one folder leaning open, like you forgot what I was. There's a room behind the counter where old pages go flat. Thin metal drawers, small plastic tabs, ears pressed into categories. I stood there with my coat half on, reading labels made by somebody careful. Rent, repair, receipt, return, all the clean little cages. I had a number in my hand, but the number had no weather, so I folded it twice. Then once the wrong way and put it back in my sleeve. Maybe that was the first useful thing I did all day. The lamp kept buzzing above the desk like it had one task and resented it. The pen rolled toward the edge, then stopped before making a point. I almost gave myself a title, something neat enough to carry, but the word came out with corners missing, and I liked it better that way. Let me unfile the part of me that keeps waiting for a drawer. Let the loose page live beside the cup mark on the floor. I don't need a clean place in the cabinet tonight. I can be useful with the staple pulled out halfway. Let me unfile the answer I prepared for being seen. Leave the margin rough, leave the date slightly green. If I move through the room with no category to prove, maybe the next small step can arrive unnamed. The copier lid comes down like a sky with hinges. A white flash, then my hands look older for a second. It makes two versions, one too pale, one too dark, neither worth correcting. I keep both, there is a kind of mercy in a bad copy. Nothing sharp enough to trap the whole shape. Yeah, tab 1, wrong one, tab 2, blank line, tab 3, coffee mark, tab 4, mine, but not mine. Someone wrote miskin, I trusted them more than all the folders with proper names. I could stack the day straight, spine to spine, make a clean little tower out of things I don't believe. But my hands choose scatter, not chaos, just air between pages. One slip near the window, one slip under the chair, one slip folded into the pocket where I stopped checking. And there, right there, the room gives me back a little surface. Let me unfile the part of me that keeps waiting for a drawer. Let the loose page live beside the cup mark on the floor. I don't need a clean place in the cabinet tonight. I can be useful with the staple pulled out halfway. Let me unfile the answer I prepared for being seen. Leave the margin rough, leave the date slightly green. If I move through the room with no category to prove, maybe the next small step can arrive unnamed. The stamp pad is dry, but I press it anyway. Nothing marks the page. Good. Out in the hallway, boxes lean against the wall, each one written on by a hand that needed certainty. I passed them slowly without becoming one. My shoulder brushes cardboard, dust lifts in the strip of light. And for once I don't turn that into meaning. The day can keep its loose ends, the mouth can keep its almost. The plan can sit open with the one clip missing. I am allowed to leave before the pile makes sense. Let me unfile, but I kept trying to submit. Not throw it away, just remove the little grid. There is a road under the paper. If I let it show through, there is a way to move that doesn't ask for proof. Let me unfile the part of me that looked finished on the page. Let it step out crooked from the measured space. I'll take the folder open, take the label half torn, and walk with what remains unplaced. By the door, I find one empty tab. I write nothing on it. Then keep it. Then keep it. I was sitting with the weight arranged wrong, not broken, not gone, just placed where it bites. There's a shape in the room that keeps asking for room, and I keep giving it corners instead of my hands. I don't call it a problem when it knows my name. I just let it stay near the door for a while. One shoe under the table, one plant under glass, and the small part of me that moves anyway. I keep a list in my pocket, I never unfold. It creased at the middle, warm from my palm. Not a map, not a promise, just proof that I carried something this far. The ceiling looks lower when I try to explain, so I stop explaining. Let the fan turn over the sentence, let the cup leave its ring where it wants. There's a patience with edges, a pause with teeth. It doesn't chase me, it just waits where my next step should be. I used to think a clean room meant a clean head. Now I leave one drawer out of line, so the day can find a way through without asking me to become new. Something in the hinge says later, something in my hand says now enough. Not brave, not ready, just less attached to the floor. And I don't need the whole door open, I don't need the room to agree. Just a space in the lock where the old key turns badly. If the pause has teeth, let it bite the part that rushes me. Let it leave the rest with a little shape to use. I can move through this without naming every bruise. I can make the chair slide back without making it a scene. If the pause has teeth, I'll stop feeding it my whole afternoon. Keep my coat on, keep the lights in their uneven row. I don't have to rise like thunder, I don't have to glow. Just loosen one strange knot and let the next inch know. Yeah. There's a wire on the floor and I step around it twice. There's a message I typed then made smaller. There's a laugh from downstairs that doesn't belong to me, but it reaches the wall like a visitor. I count the corners not to escape, just to learn how the room holds pressure. 1, the chair leg taps to the window sticks. 3, my mouth gets near the truth and parks there. I could call someone, I could wash the plate, I could stand by the sink until the water makes a border. But I choose the smaller motion first, move the glass from left to right, watch the table become usable again. Nothing opens clean, nothing lands flat. The day keeps one hand in its pocket. I let it go. Now the Now the groove comes back with more space in its jaw. Same room, different angle, less demand. I keep the heavy thing beside me, not above me, not inside my mouth. The floor doesn't shear, the walls don't soften, but the distance between me and the weight gets a little less exact. That's enough to cross the room, that's enough to leave the chair. Not like a victory, more like a receipt I don't need to keep. If the pause has teeth, let it bite the chain, not my wrist. Let it mark the hour without owning what I do. I can pass through slow and still come out in use. I can take the strange way out and not correct the view. If the pause has teeth, I won't argue with the shape it makes. I'll let one hard edge teach my hand where not to stay. There's no clean exit written on the frame today, just the gap of bad manners, and I take it anyway. Maybe the object was never the burden, maybe the burden was needing it straight. Chair at an angle, coat on the handle, mouth full of words I didn't donate. I leave the room with the list still folded, not solved, not lost, just carried differently. The pause stays back, I keep my pace uneven. I'm 1 foot late, one thought loose, and the door makes a sound like it changed its mind after me. I don't fix the chair, I let it face the wall a little, then go. The machine starts before I choose a seat. Blue light turning on my knees. Something inside keeps knocking wrong, but it still goes round. I watch my sleeve behind the glass fold, disappear, come back half-shaped. Maybe that's enough for tonight. Maybe straight was never the deal. Yeah. I sit 2 chairs away from myself under a light that makes every color tired. A vending machine blinks like it knows I almost left before the rinse. The soap on my fingers, a coin in the track, one sock missing from the little private order I tried to bring back outside. A bite leans badly, still locked, still useful. Rain writes thin lines on the window, then changes its mind halfway down. I don't fix the rhythm, I just learned where it catches. One turn too loud, one turn almost kind. Maybe the load is placed wrong, maybe the floor has always been slightly off. Maybe I keep calling it failure when it's only a rough kind of motion. It runs crooked but it runs through the out. I couldn't carry, turning all the small weight into something I can wear. I don't need the whole room steady, I don't need the glass to spare me. I just need one uneven circle bringing me back there. It runs crooked and the sound keeps missing perfect by a little, like a door that stays half open and still lets the air come in. If the night won't line up cleanly, if the edge keeps acting brittle, I can move inside the wobble and begin. The change machine spits out 3 coins and 1 delay. I count them twice like numbers could behave. Opposed to peeling near the outlets, there's something about fresh, but the corner hangs down like it gave up on selling. I know that feeling, almost neat, almost ready. Then one small part kicks hard from inside the turning. I put my palms on my knees, let the dryer shake the wall, let the sound do the pacing. I was bad at doing no big return, no clean repair, just heat behind glass and a shirt becoming wearable somewhere.
I used to fold myself too soon, before the warmth had reached the middle. Kept every crease polite, kept every answer thin. But tonight I let the fabric twist, let the sleeve catch, let the seam complain. There is a shape that only comes back after being pulled the wrong way. I am not waiting to be smoother, I am not asking the room to bless me. I keep one tender crookedness and call it mine. The
timer drops to 11 and sticks there like 11 had a reason to stay. Someone's keys at the counter and silence grows around them, not empty, just listening too closely. The washer knocks once harder and I almost stand, then I don't. Then the moment passes through me. It runs crooked but it runs past the part where I go frozen, past the old small panic tapping on the metal rim. I don't need a better version, I don't need the night to open, I just need this rough rotation letting air back in. It runs crooked and the room keeps holding all its strange positions. Chair leg, wet floor, tie line, my hand above the same. And if I leave with one thing warmer, if I carry less permission, then the turn was not as useless as it seemed. When the bell comes, it sounds smaller than I thought. A change would sound, just a dry little note from a machine with no romance. I take the clothes out slowly, steam lifting into my sleeves. One shirt inside out, one cuff refusing order. I keep it like that, there's a way to leave it without proving I am better, just slightly less held by the shape I came in.
I fold one corner wrong on purpose, not enough for anyone to notice, just enough for me to feel the night didn't get to name me.
It runs crooked so I follow
where the crooked line is leading, not all the way to peace, not all the way to clear, just out beyond the chair roll with the warm glove lightly breathing, and the street light making room for me to reappear.
At the bottom of the drum, a proceed keeps turning.
I leave it there,
still moving. Give me one more second before I become an answer. One more little circle turning under the light. I'm not gone, I'm only buffering the damage, making room for the next part to arrive. The store is open past its reason. Aisles humming in a flat white hour. Instant noodles, batteries, paper towels lined up like they know where they belong. I place 3 things on the counter, then remove one, then put it back like choice has a small loose screw. The scanner misses the code, red line passing over silver plastic again, then finally taking it. No one says anything, the machine only waits and waiting for once doesn't ask me to explain. Message blinks where my hand should be. Please hold item still, but nothing in me has held that clean for a long time. I shift the bottle, I shift the bag, I shift the part of myself that keeps standing too close to consequence. The total changes by a coin. The light above me keeps its shape. I breathe through the wrong end of a minute and let the delay do work. Let me buffer what I can, I carry straight into the street. Let the small wheel turn before my all the weight while the receipt is printed slowly. I can keep 1 second open where the old rush used to be. Let me buffer all the names I almost put on what I'm holding. Leave the barcode unread until my hands come back around. If the door slides open late and the cold air finds me loading, I can step through half prepared and still touch ground. Item removed, then replaced, then removed again. The machine gets suspicious like it knows my pattern. Bagging area talks and clean commands I answer with bad timing. 1 palm on the counter, 1 thought under plastic. There's a man near the freezer choosing nothing with focus. There's a mop sign by the entrance leaning into with some warning. I read the labels backwards, mint salt, my return. None of them fit, but they keep their little jobs. Maybe that's the trick, not becoming whole, just staying available in smaller functions. Can the bottle pay the coin, take the bag, miss the point, then miss it again with less fear. The receipt stops halfway out, thin white tongue from the machine. A list of things I bought and 1 thing it won't release. I pulled too early, it tears at the date, leaves a number unfinished. Like a place I can stand, I keep both pieces. 1 in the bag, 1 in my coat. A split record of almost making it through. Let me buffer what I can, I carry straight into the street. Let the small wheel turn before my mouth agrees. I don't need to solve the weight while the receipt is printing slowly. I can keep 1 second open where the old rush used to be. Let me buffer every answer that arrives too fully formed. Leave a little static in the frame, a walking sword. If the night keeps floating badly, if the exit takes too long, I can still become the motion after more. At the automatic door, I stop before it sees me, then it opens anyway. Not for who I am, just for what moved close enough. Helps. Outside, the painted lines are wet, bent by the lot. Lights a car, waits against the curb with 1 wheel turned inward. I could return it, I could leave it, I could make the small right thing and approve of being better. But I only move it 2 feet out of the bath. Not perfect, not careless, just enough for someone else not to hit it. Let me buffer what I can, I carry straight into the street. Let the small wheel turn before my mouth agrees. I don't need the whole night clear, I don't need the bag to hold me. I can keep 1 second open and let that be. Let me buffer at the edge of what I nearly call a failure. Keep the torn receipt folder where the numbers lose their place. If I leave with nothing shining, if I leave a little later, there is still a usable distance in the delay. The door closes behind me, then opens once more. For nobody, I take that second with me. The board keeps changing its mind above me. Letters sliding left like they owe me less. Track 3 becomes track 5, then blank, then please wait. In blue, I stand with my bag half zipped, ticket softening in my palm. All my plans printed too clean for a day with this much static. There's a delay clause in the corner of the hour, small enough to miss, large enough to live in. I used to think late meant losing shape, like the whole day fell out of its frame. But some things arrive with the folded edge and still know where to place their weight. I'm keeping my coat on, letting the platform air move through me. Not leaving, not waiting perfectly, just becoming less easy to rush. There's a delay clause written small under the life I overplanned. A little room in the wording where the pressure loosens first. We don't have to call it failure when the train won't meet the hand. We can stand inside the late part without making it worse. Yeah, there's a delay clause in the space between the sign and the door, where the old need to be on time stops biting through the sleeve. Yeah. If the route keeps being rewritten, if the floor keeps asking more, we can move when the next imperfect opening agrees. Hey, I buy a drink I don't want because the machine is bright in there. Cold bottle against my wrist, like a small official answer. A man in a gray coat studies the map as if one line might confess. A student sleeps standing up with headphones leaking thin silver. The loudspeaker clears his throat and says the same thing clean, and the delay has been extended. Thank you for your patience. I almost laugh at patience like it's a coin I forgot to carry, but my shoulders drop once before I can turn it into thought. Hey, maybe the hour was not stolen, maybe it was badly assigned, maybe the wrong platform still counts as somewhere.
I keep a ribbon of time in my pocket, not pretty, not tied, just loose enough to follow me when the schedule folds. There were days I made myself a hallway, straight, narrow, easy to blame, then wonder why my breathing kept looking for a side door.
And now I let the pause stay uncorrected, let the late train keep its strange permission. Some warmth returns in the gap where I stopped proving I could handle it. Across the tracks, a train aroused for somebody else. Doors open with the clean, bright sound and closed before I envy them. The wind follows after, pushing old paper along the yellow line. A transfer notice, a gum wrapper, small evidence of almost moving. I step back, not from fear, from the edge needing less of me. There's a delay clause written small under the life I overplanned. A little room in the wording where the pressure loosens first. We don't have to call it failure when the train won't meet the hand. We can stand inside the late part without making it worse. There's a delay clause in the breath before the doors decide to stay, where the route becomes a question and the answer loses speed. If the night comes with conditions, if the map won't speak plainly, we can take the longer wording and still leave. Terms apply, weather applies, signal trouble applies, human margin applies. A loose strap taps my leg with the rhythm of a small complaint. I move it once it comes back, that's how the mind works. Push, return, name, blur, stand, learn. I read the poster by the stairs about safety, distance, care. All those clean public words, trying to hold a crowd together. I borrow one just for the walk home distance, not from people, from the version of me that needs the day to obey.
When the train finally comes, I don't step in first. I let the glass carry other faces before I give it mine. Nothing has been fixed, but something has stopped gripping, and that is not a miracle, it is better than that.
There's a delay clause, and I'm learning how to read it without fear. Not as a reason to disappear, not as proof I came undone,
Just a part of the page that kept a little air in here,
until the late train
turned its lights towards somewhere inside the car. We passed the station name too fast. I'll forget to check it,
then stay on. The bar comes back before I'm ready. Green plastic shining under tired lanes, rolling out with somebody else's speed into my waiting hands. I don't throw it yet, I let the weight sit there, round useless wheeling with a number carved near the thumb. Yeah. The bowling alley is half shut, only 2 lanes lit at the far end. Wax on the floor, shoes in a crooked row, names erased from the screen. I came here with no game left in me, just a pocket full of small change, and a body that kept moving after the reason went home. A pin setter coughs behind the wall, then resets a frame nobody owns. 10 white shapes standing straight again, as if straightness solved anything. I take the ball, then put it down and take it again. Not stuck, just slow at becoming next. The screen gives me zeros and colors too bright for the room. I don't correct my name, I don't enter another round. Some motion arrives late from a place I already left, and I use it carefully before it turns into weight. There's inertia in the way I keep moving after the push is gone. Not enough to win the lane, enough to cross the shine. I can send one heavy circle down a path that isn't clean, and let the rough part travel with mark slide on where the floor has been worn thin. I don't need a perfect angle, I don't need a louder score. I can follow what remains and begin from within. Step to the line, look down, too long, 3 holes in the ball, none of them fit. Left lane flickers, right lane waits, a paper cup sweats near the orange seat. I count the pins and stop at 6, cause counting all of them makes the room too official. The throw goes wide, not dramatic, just honest, touches the gutter, rise the rail, keeps going anyway. That's the part I watch, the bad direction, with a strange amount of patience. The return belt drags the ball back, slow rubber, low complaint, bringing me the same way with less accusation. I wipe my hand on my jeans, leave the dust where it lands. There are marks, you removing marks, you let blur. The ball rests against my leg like an answer with no sentence. I breathe once without making it useful. There's inertia in the way I keep moving after the push is gone. Not bright enough to save me, enough to cross the line. I can let the crooked road become a route for a while and leave the perfect shot for another kind of night. There's inertia in the small delay between my hand and the release, in the late little turn that keeps the ball from falling flat. I don't need the lane to bless me, I don't need the screen to agree. I can lose one frame and walk away with that. At the counter, I give the shoes back, the man checks the numbers without looking at me. One lace is tied wrong, one tongue folded under. He takes them anyway, that helps more than it should. I leave the last ball on the rack, fingers not in it, wait, not claim. The doors open into a parking lot, strike with old rain. My steps keep carrying the lane for a few seconds outside. I don't stop it. Some motion is useful after it stops belonging to the thing that started it. Behind me, my zero score stays lit, and the screen changes by itself.